with Inter Milan. He's one of the world's most feared free kick specialists. So we're waiting for the corner to be delivered in here. Both arms going up in the air of the aforementioned Çalhanoğlu. Floated in, and it's headed over the bar, and I think Ismail Yüksek may have just collided with the defender Cameron Burgess. He plays for Swansea City, does Cameron Burgess. Yeah, it's come directly off the head of Harry Suter actually, and I think Suter actually headed the back of his teammate's head. So now Çalhanoğlu with another corner. It's again met by Burgess in there. Australia can get it away, but only to the edge of the box. It's going to be floated towards the far post. Hakan Çalhanoğlu will try and get there. It's just going to be headed out by Italiano. So Turkiye will be looking to put a bit of pressure on Patrick Beach in the Australia goal. It is with Goulet. Goulet will play it into Çalhanoğlu. It's given away, and Australia can go all the way back to their goalkeeper Beach in his all black goalkeeper kit. He launches it out, but he can only hit his own manager, Tony Popovic. Former World Cup player. Was a key defender in Australia's famous 2005 World Tournament qualification campaign. He won multiple coaching trophies in Australia. Comes out to Ferdi Kadıoğlu. Kadıoğlu will come all the way back to Bardakci. Bardakci on the ball. Let's play 1-2 with Demiral. Demiral back into Bardakci. And very patient on the ball at the moment are Turkiye. Ismail Yüksek. Just out to Zeki Çelik. Çelik gives it to Hakan Çalhanoğlu, the midfielder for Turkiye. It's a forward ball into Volkan Koçu. Koçu out to the right side to Çelik. Very patient at the moment are Turkiye, but that's a well-timed pass into Çelik, but it's well defended by Cameron Burgess, who's had to be very busy early on here. There is Turkiye on the ball, comes into Bardakci. Bardakci out to Ferdi Kadıoğlu. Now it's with Yilmaz. Yilmaz back into the right-footed left-back. It's back into Yilmaz now. He will drive inside. We'll find Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Go out to the right side with Zeki Çelik. Here's Arda Güler. That's lovely footwork by him. Gets a left-footed effort at goal. It ends up going wide of the goal. And the young sensation for Turkiye. There's a decent move there, and Arda Güler just tried to bend it into the far corner, but wasn't quite able to execute what he was going for. So the major shock in the starter lineups when they were announced was that Patrick Beach, a former softball player, a 22-year-old Sydney Sider, was a defender until he reached the under-14 age group when he asked to make the switch between the post. Started in the New South Wales development programme at Mount Druitt Town Rangers. Beach headed overseas to trial at teams in Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland before a final trial at Premier League bound Ipswich Town. He eventually signed with the Central Coast Mariners in 2023. It wasn't until he was picked up by Melbourne City in 2024 that he made his A-League debut. Within 12 months he was an A-League champion, and it was only about 15 months ago that he earned his first Socceroos call-up, before later that year making his debut against Venezuela, winning man of the match honours at the first time of asking. So certainly a surprise to see Patrick Beach as the starting goalkeeper. Matty Ryan's one of the most well-known Australia players, as Vincenzo Montella is the Turkiye coach, an experienced man. Montella, who is Italian, and I think it's safe to say that this Turkiye side has certainly got an Italian spine to it, despite still having that Turkish free-flowing ideology. He's been the architect behind the national team's resurgence since his appointment in 2023. He's nicknamed the Little Airplane because of his goal celebration. He was a prolific striker before becoming a coach. He has fully immersed himself in the culture and certainly gets the Turkish psyche. He said that Turkish culture is very close to that of the place where he spent his childhood. He was born and raised near Naples. Montella has managed a team much better than most Turkish coaches of the past. Gone all the major fractures or squabbles between players and staff. And the Italians' default is a 4-2-3-1 setup. He's certainly not afraid to mix things up and has proven to be an astute tactician. He's a stylish, composed, likeable character who's built one of the strongest Turkey teams in modern histories. Here is Bardachki. He'll play it forward towards Okan Koçu. And Koçu out to the right flank. Comes into Hakan Çalhanoğlu. We'll just come back into Koçu. There's a nice shape about Australia off the ball at the moment. So quite a clear 5-4-1 shape. As it's just going to be clipped over the top, but it'll safely be seen out by Harry Souttar, and it'll be a goal kick for Australia. There's not too much hope for Australia coming into this World Tournament. They do have a sneaky feeling that they can cause an upset, as Patrick Beach will put the ball down and will play it short out to Jordan Bosch. Bosch of Feyenoord will go down the left side, stretches legs, plays it inside and gives it away, and now it's with Arda Güler out on the right flank. We'll come back to Zeki Çelik, and then it's back with Çalhanoğlu. Çalhanoğlu just comes out to the left side, finding Ferdi Kadıoğlu now. He will go forward, and at the moment it just does feel like Turkey are trying to force it a little bit. They're getting on the ball, but it certainly does feel like when they get it into the midfield areas, they're just trying to force it forward, as Australia can now come out to the right side. Comes to Jacob Italiano. Italiano, despite the surname, is Australian born, known for his speed and attacking runs down the flank. As it comes into him, he crosses it in, trying to find Nestori Irakundu. It goes all the way out to the fellow wing-back now, Jordan Bosch. Bosch will send the right-footed delivery in. That'll be headed away by Demiral. And Turkey are able to clear away. It's brought down by Arda Güler, who will bring it down. Australia can just send it out to Jordan Bosch now. He goes inside into the right side with Italiano. Now Conor Metcalf, 1-2 between them. And just bring it forward. It's on this right side now. It's lofted up towards Kerem Aktoglu, who's surging forward. It's well tackled. It's back with Arda Güler now. Güler can just turn back. All the way back with him. Play a quick 1-2 with Okan Koçu. Güler now towards Koçu. Goes back into the Real Madrid star. Turkey can just slow it down a little bit. Comes into Bardachki. Badachki on the ball. Coming to the left side, finding Yilmaz. Yilmaz will cross it in, and like I was saying before, it does just feel like the side in all red are just trying to force it a little bit right now. It's getting out to the left flank to Yilmaz. Tried to cross it in, it wasn't the greatest of deliveries, as Gianni Infantino is watching on today. In the 14th minute of the game, it goes all the way back to Chichatti. And he'll go back to Patrick Beach. Beach into Harry Suter. And across to Cameron Burgess. Burgess will bounce it back to Jordan Bosch. And then it's the midfielder, Okan Ensler, who will just bring a long ball up for number 5, Jordan Bosch, to chase, but full back on that far side for Roma. Zeki Celik is just able to guide it out. He was a Ligue 1 title winner with Lille during their surprise championship season. He's actually the youngest of 9 brothers, is Zeki Celik. He played in Turkiye's lower divisions and earned a Turkiye call-up while still playing for Istanbulspor, which is a rare achievement. In the 2020-21 French Ligue 1 title with Lille, been in the dominance of Paris Saint-Germain. In 2022 he moved to Roma, became only the 4th Turkish player to represent the club. And ball searched up towards Yilmaz, he's unable to get there, ball goes back to Patrick Beach. Beach will launch it up, and the referee has said that the original ball forward for Yilmaz was an infringement because he was in an offside position, as Tony Popovic in his all black suit chews his gum down on the sidelines. So the ball comes all the way back now with Chichatti. He'll go back to the goalkeeper in all black. Patrick Beach now. Beach will just play it up, and then we'll come back into the goalkeeper. We'll go out to number 3, Chichatti. He will send the ball up for Mohamed Toure to get to. Toure looking around for his support. Trying to take it past Mary Demiral. I think it's taken a touch off Demiral, and we'll go out for a corner. Turkish central defender there. He's in Italy with Atalanta. Just quick to it. It's actually has come out for a corner. So it's the St. Pauli midfielder Connor Metcalf who has come over to take it. Both arms go up in the air. It's a packed out 6-yard box in there. It's going to be floated all the way towards the far post. The goalkeeper's unconvincing, but it ends up coming off the head of Chichatti, I think it was, and out for a goal kick, but it's certainly unconvincing goalkeeping by Gürkan Shakir. He's long been regarded as one of their top goalkeepers. They've gone long with the goal kick, but the referee stopped it because I think he's saying that Mr. Irakundu has entered the box before the goal kick was taken. So he's asking for them to retake it, which they will. Comes out to Ferdi Kadioglu on this left flank. Played up towards Okan Koçu. Just brought down by Chichatti, and then they're having a little bit of a grappling match down there, trying to wrestle back for the ball, and the referee's quickly making his way over, just trying to calm things down, as there was a little bit of a a grappling match between the two sets of players, as it now comes out to the left side with Ferdi Kadioglu. Kadioglu on the ball, way out to the right side, which finds Celik. Now to Yuksik. Long ball up to Celik, who would move forward. It's into a central position. To Kadioglu with the effort from distance. And he's ended up just getting his foot caught underneath the ball and sending it over the bar. Disappointing end product there. Just as it came out and just launched it over the bar. Really troubling, well, certainly not troubling Patrick Beach in the Australian goal at all. So Beach will go long. He's going to send a long ball up, headed forward by Ferdi Kadioglu. Now it's Mohamed Touré who brings it down. He will come forward, but then takes a really poor touch. And that will go out for a goal kick. This game just hasn't really sparked into life just yet. Turkiye with the majority of the ball, but unable to break down what has been a resilient Australian backline. Turkiye goes long, and it'll be headed by the Leicester City defender, Harry Suter. He rarely played this season because he had been out with a season-long injury. Stands at 6'6". He was actually born in Scotland and is the younger brother of Scottish international John Suter. Many Scottish fans feel that they missed a trick by not getting him called up to the national squad. There is the aforementioned Suter on the ball now. Just play a 1-2 with Chachati. Goes back into Cameron Burgess now. Out on the left side with Jordan Bosch. Bosch tries to send it up, and Zeki Celik's there. Celik will try and send it down the line. That will just clip out. So out on the left side now with Ferdi Kadioglu. Kadioglu will carry it forward. That goes back into Bodachki. Won't be long until we reach the quarter mark, and we'll be heading into a hydration break. Demiral, Bodachki. Short pass into Chanahoglu. They're very organised at the moment, are Australia. Be headed up, but just going to be brought down by Bodachki. Now it's with Demiral. Yuksik just keeps dropping into the middle, and then they'll come all the way back to the goalkeeper in all blue, Gajan Chakir. So Chakir wears the number 23 shirt, despite being the number 1. He had big gloves to fill when he moved to Galatasaray in a record-shattering 25 million deal in 2025, replacing the legendary Fernando Muslera. He has stepped up to another level and arrives at this World Tournament in the form of his life after an impressive season in the league and in the Champions League. He started his professional career with his boyhood club, Trabzonspor, made nearly 300 appearances for the club before last year's switch to Galatasaray. In the Super League, Trabzonspor in the 2021-22 season. He's now 30 years old is Chakir, as we do go into that aforementioned hydration break, so 22 minutes on the clock here, and as much as it is an opportunity for the players to take some refreshments on board, it's an opportunity for Vincenzo Montella and Tony Popovic to bring in their players and pass on some instructions. We are in Vancouver, It is currently 21 degrees, so it's not unbelievably hot, but it is warm despite being in Canada. So they're having some intense chats down there. There's members of the Australian backroom staff who are passing on a lot of instructions. It's quite intense with the how many there are speaking to the players. Vincenzo Montella now speaking to his captain Hakan Çalhanoğlu. I'm sure Tony Popovic will be delighted with the way that his side have played so far. Very animated down there. There's the manager Popovic, who coaches like he played as a hard-nosed defender in his 58 matches for the Socceroos, including being part of the renowned 2006 World Cup squad. And the 52-year-old values substance over style, but does find a way to make it work with a coaching record that includes 2 A-League premierships and an Asian Champions League crown. Popovic quickly put his fingerprints all over the Socceroos when taking charge in September 2024, with their qualification hopes floundering. His steely determination and the side's newfound sharper edge booked their ticket to a 6th consecutive global showpiece. This is a very tricky group, but he will be delighted with the way that they've started the game. So we are going to get back underway here in the 25th minute, although we can't get underway just yet. The referee's saying that we have to wait the 3 minutes. If all players out, it's quite frustrating really. Just want to get going with the game, but we can restart now. It's Harry Sutar who will have the long ball up out to Jordan Bosch, but that'll be headed by Zeki Çelik. With Bosch on the left side. Tony Popovic, a former manager in Turkiye. He managed Karabükspor, Kodamir Karabükspor, in 2017. He had just 11 games in charge before returning to his home country to manage Perth Glory for 2 years. It wasn't a great spell for him in Turkiye. There is Yilmaz on the ball. That's with Kadioglu. Back into Yilmaz. He'll send in a right-footed cross. It's going to be an effort by Arda Güler. Meets it on the volley, but sends it down the centre of the goal. And in the end, it is comfortable for the goalkeeper. Just diving to his right side. Now coming up, it's Nestori Irakundu. He gets ahead of the Turkiye defenders, and he's in. And Nestori Irakundu finds the opening goal of the game here. He runs over with his trademark punching celebration in the corner flag. But it's the Watford winger with the opening goal of the game. And it's a shot lead for the Australian national team as they all go to celebrate with him in the corner. But Nestori Irakundu has given Australia the lead here. And we had talked about how there had been so little to talk about in the game so far. But in the 27th minute here, it was just a ball clipped forward. And he just persevered, did Nestori Irakundu. He drove inside. And then as Ergüchan Çakır came out to try and close down the angle, he just slotted it past the goalkeeper in all blue. And it's Australia who have taken the lead. Tony Popovic has turned around to celebrate with his backroom staff. But a man who was with Bayern Munich just 12 months ago, before making the move to Vicarage Road to join Watford, has scored once again in yellow. His first goal since the international friendly against Curacao in what was a 5-1 victory at the back end of March. And Australia are 1-0 up here now. Really had been a dull start to the game, but it was just a ball clipped over the top for Nestori Irakundu to get on the end of, and as I say, he just persevered, he kept going, he got there, and then he slotted it past the goalkeeper, and it's an excellent finish in the end. And Australia are a goal up now. Yilmaz coming down the left side, but he's unable to get any joy going down the left flank. Actually scored a brace in that game against the Curacao, where he came off the bench, in fact. Got 4 goals and 4 assists in 22 starts this season in the Championship in England. So now it's another ball lofted over the top for him, and Shakir has to come out and prevent him from getting a second as he boots it away. So now they are coming forward. It comes out to Yilmaz. Yilmaz will cross it in. It's going to be headed away. It's all the way out on the right flank now with Arda Güler. Güler will try and run at Jordan Bosch. Comes into Orkan Koçu. Koçu with the floated delivery, headed by Harry Sutar. Is going to come out for an effort from distance. It hits the post. I think Patrick Beach may have got a touch on it, just judging by his celebration as the ball bounced back off the post there. What a strike that was. Turkiye coming again. Hakan Çalhanoğlu. That time from 30 yards out, but it has gone over the bar. Just trying to test the goalkeeper perhaps, but it was the effort from distance by Ismail Yüksek. I think he gets a fingertip on it, was the young goalkeeper. Haven't got the ball into the box really of Turkey, but that was an excellent opportunity for them, and it was Patrick Beach just diving to the right side who got a fingertip on it. So the ball comes back to Ergüchan Shakir. It looks a little awkward for him as it comes back to him, but he is able to eventually get it out of his feet. Now it's with Bardachki. Half an hour on the clock now. It's Australia 1, Turkiye 0. A shock score at the moment. There is Yüksek, plays it into Orkan Koçu. Koçu into Arda Güler. Just floated out to the right side. That'll be booted away by Jordan Bosch. And it's just going to be booted away there. And then it comes back to number 14, Bardachki. Bardachki into Ferdi Kadioglu. Ferdi Kadioglu will get there. Comes out to the right side. There's Zeki Çelik. Way back to Demiral. Demiral into Arda Güler. There's Yilmaz, and Yilmaz is bumbled over on that occasion, but the referee certainly doesn't think it's a foul. Every credit to you if you've stayed up from if you're listening in the UK. You've stayed up to listening to this game. Reminder, you can watch it with your national broadcaster wherever you may be. Game being shown on ITV if you're listening in the United Kingdom. As it is, Ferdi Kadioglu is back into Demiral. It's Arda Güler out on that right side. Arda Güler will just give it into Demiral. Into Hakan Çalhanoğlu. All the way out on the left side with Kadioglu. Now to Yilmaz. Yilmaz will drift inside. He goes to cross it in. It'll be booted away by Nestori Irakundu, and coming out just controlling it on his chest is Erkaçen Shakir. Goes into Goulet. Goulet forces it up towards Canahoglu, but it's a loose touch taken by him, and then the goalkeeper Patrick Beach will pick it up. There's a sea of yellow and red inside the stadium here, almost quite similar to the game earlier on today as Brazil and Morocco played in a 1-1 draw. It was a sea of yellow and red as well. The 80,000 watched that game in LA. In Vancouver here. 54,000, the home of the Vancouver Whitecaps, of course. BC Field. It was well saved by Beach as it was towards the centre of the goal. Such a good individualistic goal though by Nestori Irakundu, who's playing as the left midfielder. So he's able to just get it ahead of Zeki Çelik and Meril Demiral. There is Okan Koçu on the ball. Comes into Arda Güler. He goes down. He's convinced he should have a foul, but Jesus Valenzuela is not really listening to Arda Güler. Typically referees in the Copa Libertadores. Goes into Güler, and that's certainly a foul. He's wrestled to the ground by the Australian goal scorer Nestori Irakundu. Referee just going to make his way over to try and calm down the players down there. Comes into Hakan Çalhanoğlu now. Out on the left side with Ferdi Kadıoğlu. Kadıoğlu into Yilmaz. Yilmaz on that left flank. Crosses it in. Chested down for Okan Koçu with the effort. Meets it on the volley. And ends up sending it wide of the goal. So it came in, but there's plenty of Australian supporters inside the stadium. There are Turkish supporters who will be a bit concerned at the start that their side is made. So goal kick taken by Patrick Beach. Beach with a long ball forward. It's just going to be headed on and out for a throw. So it comes out to where Vincenzo Montella is stood. It's floated up, headed that time by Ferdi Kadıoğlu. Now it's with Kerem Aktürkoğlu. I tell you what, we've not really seen Kerem Aktürkoğlu get involved at all, have we? Socceroo certainly lacks star power, but Nestori Irakundu, as you saw there, is their human highlight reel, the 20-year-old attacker who launches attacks from outside the area. He beats defenders with pace and has a bag full of tricks. He often celebrates goals with a back flip and a Michael Jackson dance move, but he made his way over to the corner to celebrate like Tim Cahill, Australian football legend. He used to, by coming over to the corner flag and punching it. And then Mohamed Touré, childhood friends. He's got red hot goal scoring form for his club. He's floated up. Patrick Beach will come out and he'll give it to Alessandro Cecchetti. Cecchetti, who flies under the radar with his role at centre back, but just 22 years of age, and he's quickly emerged as one of the most important pieces of Popovic's Socceroos puzzle. His physicality sets the tone, whilst his composure calms the nerves. He's also having the skill and polish on the ball that helps turn defence into attack, as he will launch it up towards the goal scorer, Nestori Irakundu. Just going to send it out to the right side, but Kadioglu will go in full throttle with Jacob Italiano, and it's going to come off Kadioglu and be a throw for Australia. Chachati's standing within the team was revealed when he became the youngest player to captain the side in a friendly against New Zealand last year. And there has risen through the ranks at Parma in line with the club's rise from Serie B to Serie A. He is relishing his opportunity at the highest level as it comes out to Jordan Bosch here, and poor effort in the end by him. The relentless fullback who has continued his steady rise from Melbourne City to Feyenoord, whilst gradually becoming a key creative outlet for the national side. Turkiye just can't play straight away from the goal kick because there was another ball on the pitch. The referee will just drop it with Turkiye. Drop ball so he can get back underway. Really disappointed if you're watching this from a Turkish point of view. Here's Hakan Çalhanoğlu towards Yilmaz, but it's Cameron Burgess who just gets a toe in to boot it away. Back into Arda Güler now, able to wriggle out of a bit of trouble. He's on the ball now, goes back into Abdülkerim Bardakçı. Bardakçı out to the left side with Yilmaz. Barış Yapar Yilmaz will float it in and goes off the head of Chachati, and then it will be caught by Patrick Beach, who will quickly roll it out for Cameron Burgess. Burgess to his left wing back, Jordan Bosch. A clear 5-4-1 shape from Australia. Look at the stats. Australia with just 33% of the ball. They've had 3 shots compared to the 8 of Turkiye. 2 on target for Turkiye, just the 1 on target for Australia. That was the goal. We'll come all the way through where Ferdi Kadioglu is, and he'll go back to his goalkeeper. Short pass into Demiral. Demiral into Zeki Çelik now. It's across to Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Çalhanoğlu all the way out to Ferdi Kadioglu. He finds Yilmaz. Yilmaz on the left side. Tries to play it back, and Nestori Irakundu is there to clear away. Gökhan Şakir is about 40 yards out of his goal to collect. There is Bardakçı. Just gives it Çalhanoğlu now. Comes into Ismail Yüksek. Yüksek into Gökhan Kopçu. Back into Bardakçı. All the players in yellow, green and white behind the ball. Of course, Australia in their yellow tops, green shorts and white socks. Turkey are in their all red kit, but it's going to be Arda Güler from distance. Once again, he sends it wide, and you can just see that the time to get on the ball, Vincenzo Montella's side are just trying their luck from distance. As he looks on in his all black suit, both managers kitted out. Best dressed for a funeral rather than a global tournament. Speaking of all black, it's Patrick Beach in his all black goalkeeper kit who will launch it up, and it will be headed out by Abdülkerim Bardakçı. Can't see there being too much additional time at the end of this first half. Of course, there'll have to be a minimum of 3. So it's Cameron Burgess who will boot it up. There is Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Torre competes for the ball. The referee waves away any protest for a foul. Goes out to the left side with Jordan Bosch now. And now there's an opportunity on the break for Turkiye. It's a 4-on-4 attack. Goes out to the right side to Kerem Aktürkoğlu. There is Aktürkoğlu, and then just tries to play it inside towards Gökhan Kopçu, and it's cheaply given away. Zeki Çelik finds Bardachki. Plays it into the captain, Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Now Zeki Çelik on that right side. Bardachki all the way out to the left winger, Yilmaz. Yilmaz will play it inside. There's a 1-2 with Arda Güler. Yilmaz goes all the way to the byline, crosses it in, and it comes off, taking the last touch off the Australian defender. Number 4, Jacob Italiano, and the VAR's had a very quick look at it, and they've said that the referee made the incorrect call given the corner, so he's saying it's going to be a goal kick instead. It's good use of VAR. They can just overrule the referee and tell him very quickly that it shouldn't be a corner. So he'll count down Patrick Beach with this goal kick, as he's going to launch it up. It's a long ball up, and out on the left side with Jordan Bosch, he's able to find Nestor Irakundu as he just tries to chop back in onto his right foot. He slips in the final minute of normal time now. Ball comes all the way back to Cameron Burgess. Burgess out to the left side. And it's into Nestor Irakundu on the left side of the box, getting his shot away, but it's down the centre of the goal. And it's comfortable for Ergüchan Şakir. So Şakir will just give it into Ismail Yüksek. Yüksek out to Ferdi Kadıoğlu now. So we're into 4 additional minutes. It was a good effort by Nestor Irakundu. He's definitely been the star player for Australia. Perhaps could put himself in the shop window. A player of high quality at Vicarage Road this season at Watford, but also inconsistent, which I guess comes with the age, just 20 years old. It's the Brighton and Hove Albion fullback now, Ferdi Kadıoğlu. Now Yilmaz. Yilmaz will bring it onto his right foot. He's actually just going to pass it to Kadıoğlu. Now it's Arda Güler. Güler into Çalhanoğlu, and sliced away by Metcalf. Ball comes all the way back now with Merrill Demiral. Demiral into Bardachki. Bardachki will just give it to Kerem Aktoglu. Aktoglu out to Yilmaz. Yilmaz gets the ball out of his feet. Decent delivery in. Patrick Beach just decides to punch away. It'll come all the way back to Abdülkerim Bardachki. Bardachki will just play it inside. And it's Orkan Koçu now. All the way out to Yilmaz on this left flank. Tries to give it into Orkan Koçu. It's a poor pass into him, and it will run out for a goal kick. The goalkeeper will just put the ball down. He's going to look to send it long. Patrick Beach will send the long ball up. That's going to be cleared out. It will be a throw here for Turkiye. Ferdi Kadıoğlu will play it back to Bardachki. Demiral to Çelik. Here is Arda Güler out on the right side. It's going to come out to Bardachki now. Bardachki will find Ferdi Kadıoğlu here in the 48th minute. It's with Yilmaz. Yilmaz on the left side. It's into Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Tries to float it in towards the edge of the box. And that will be booted away. Come back inside now. And it's a short pass forward into Arda Güler. Arda Güler on the ball. Comes back into Güler. Lovely Maradona, finds Zakatoglu, tries to move it onto his left foot, but as he gets his shot away, it's just blocked off by the Swansea City defender Cameron Burgess. They'll quickly get on with it though, will Turkiye. It's with Çalhanoğlu. Çalhanoğlu who will just play it out to Okan Koçu now. Koçu will clear it away. It's booted out and it will come out for a throw for Turkiye. Bardachki will make his way over. And throw it back to Demiral. Demiral out to the right side with Zeki Çelik. Back into Akitoglu, who has to keep coming out to the wing to get on the ball. He's not an out-and-out striker. And that will go out for a goal kick, and the referee's going to end it there. So at half-time here, a shock result as Australia lead Turkiye, and it's come from a brilliant solo effort from Nestori Irakundu.
Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok.
Hello and welcome back to the second half here of this World Cup game in Group D, as Australia are taking on Turkiye here in this global tournament. A reminder, you can watch this game with your national broadcaster. If you're in the United Kingdom, you can currently watch on ITV1. So we are underway in this game. It is Australia against Turkiye. We come into the second period with Australia a goal up. Nesteri Irakundu with the solitary goal in the first half. It was a save from Patrick Beach, making his competitive debut, to quickly played it forward. And then getting in behind was Nesteri Irakundu, who then ran over to the corner flag for a Tim Cahill-like celebration to give Australia the lead. But it was a very disappointing performance from the Turkish international side, as Hakan Çalhanoğlu tries his luck from distance, but it bounced into the hands of Patrick Beach, who I mentioned, the 22-year-old, making his competitive debut for Tony Popovic's team here today. And there has been one substitute at half-time, so Barış Yapı Yılmaz has gone off for Kenan Yıldız, and probably the main man in this Turkish national side, but wasn't able to start because he had a tight calf. Plays his club football in Italy with Juventus. He was born in Germany and actually left Bayern Munich's academy for Juventus and rapidly became one of their breakout teenage talents. So Kenan Yıldız is now on the pitch, and we'll be hoping to get him involved a little bit more than what he was in the first half, because it was a really disappointing performance. But here is Kerem Aktürkoğlu, who they will be looking to get involved more. The front man keeps having to come out wide to get on the ball. He's naturally a winger. They don't really have an out-and-out striker to the Turkish international team. Dennis Gül is probably the most likely option, but it's Australia coming forward with Jordan Bosch down the left side. Gets his shot away. In the end, it's not the greatest effort by him, but they were surging forward there, were Australia, and it's Jordan Bosch who just cut in onto his right foot, got his effort away. Mohamed Toure a little bit frustrated that Bosch did try to find him in the middle. There's going to be a corner on the far side though. There's taking a touch off a Turkish player. So delivery comes in from all the way on the far side. Comes out towards number 4, Jacob Italiano, but it's a poor effort at goal by him as he sends that way over the bar. He'll be disappointed, just as it came all the way out to him. So all eyes will be on Arda Güler, but Yıldız could end up stealing the show this summer with his raw power, skill and speed, set to trouble USA in Paraguay, and hopefully, from the Turkish point of view, Australia in this second half. Alessandro Del Piero, whose famous tongue out celebration Yıldız has adopted, has been full of praise for him. He said he has a personality that defies his age. When you've seen him play, he sees a bit of himself. The 21-year-old is in red-hot form headed into this tournament, having tormented defenders both domestically and internationally in the 2025-26 season. Make no mistake, Yildiz has as much potential as Arda Güler to shine this summer. He was born in Germany to a Turkish father and a German mother. He made his international debut for Turkiye and scored against Germany in Berlin during a 3-2 win. One of his parents was at that game. So the captain, Hakan Çalhanoğlu, on the far side, preparing to send in a corner now. And the referee's just speaking to a couple of the players down there before it comes in, but we will now see the captain deliver. It comes off the head of the 6'6" defender Harry Suter, who's got the captain's armband for Australia. Turkey take it quickly. Delivery comes in, left-footed, headed away by Cameron Burgess. Now Kerem Aktürkoğlu with the effort on the volley from about 25 yards out, but doesn't get a clean connection on it. Comes back into Bardakçı. He will clip it forward. That'll be headed away by Harry Suter. And then it'll come all the way back to Ferdi Kadıoğlu now. He'll just send it out to the left side, finding Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Out to the right flank to Merih Demiral. It's kept in play by Kenan Yildiz, but then the assistant referee's flag goes up on this near side to just show that he was offside. The assistant referee today is Tulio Moreno. The referee is Jesus Velasquez, Venezuelan referee. And here is Australia on the ball. Goes into Aidan O'Neill. Goes all the way back to the goalkeeper Yildiz Çakır. He'll launch it up. There's Harry Suter. Harry Suter just plays a short pass up. Now it's into Boss, and that's going to be a very strong tackle out on the left side by Hakan Çalhanoğlu. And his man now. So now it's into Mohamed Toure. Toure on the ball. Plays it to the edge of the box to Nestori Irakundu. Goes out to Jordan Bosch now. Bosch with the cross in. And it deflects off Zeki Çelik. And goes all the way out for a corner. He seemed pretty happy that the Turkish supporters inside the stadium, despite their side being a goal down. It's Aidan O'Neill who's made his way over to deliver it in. It's crossed in towards the far post. Harry Suter gets there. Ergun Çakır makes the save. Still alive though with Aidan O'Neill on the left side of the box. He crosses it in towards Suter. It'll be headed by Kenan Yildiz. It's kept alive by Cameron Burgess. He goes down asking the question towards the referee. The referee's not going to give it. It's on the right side now. It's Mohamed Toure with the overhead kick. It's going to be kept alive though by Nestori Irakundu. Now it's out on the left side, comes all the way back to Çağatay. Çağatay gives to Jordan Bosch. Bosch is able to take it past Kerem Aktürkoğlu. All the way out to the right side now. Now it's Harry Suter. Harry Suter with a pass into the middle. Finds a midfielder, Okan Engstler. And it'll come all the way back into number 3, Çağatay now. Çağatay will just bounce it back. And then it'll just be cleared away by Ismail Yüksek. Yüksek was just able to clear it away. Now it's with Torre. Torre on the ball. Driving out Zeki Çelik. And he has gone a little bit early, according to the Venezuelan official. It was a good save, though, before by Ergin Shakir. He called into action a couple of times as the shot stopper. More than perhaps he would have expected, really. It's going to be a throw for Australia. We'll just come all the way back to Cameron Burgess. Burgess back to Harry Suter down there. He's going to go into Mohamed Torre, but he's one back. And now it's Arda Güler coming forward, and he is bundled over. We might see our first yellow card of the game here, in fact. Maybe the referee will just keep his cards in his pocket, actually, on this occasion. Certainly being a little bit lenient as the official. Ergin Shakir looking on, actually trying to pass on some instructions, whilst Patrick Beach is going to mark out a 5-man wall for Australia. Referee just speaking to the players, reminding them not to use their arms to block the ball. Arda Güler is stood over it. Hakan Çalhanoğlu is there as well. Referee blows his whistle. It's going to be Güler, left-footed effort. Oh, it's a great save by Beach. It's followed in though. It's eventually cleared away, but it's still alive. And then there's questions over whether it's hit a hand. They're asking that question. Has gone out for a corner for now. It was a great effort by the Real Madrid midfielder Arda Güler. Just took a gamble trying to beat the goalkeeper on his side, and Beach did well because it bounced just in front of him. He had to watch it come across, and he did well just to push it away from goal. It's going to be a corner on the far side. VAR had a quick look at it. It's Hakan Çalhanoğlu all the way to the far side, headed by Chichati. It's then going to be hit on the spin by Ismail Yüksek, but he does send it over the bar. Disappointing end product by him. And then Patrick Beach will go and just play it out to the left side where Chichati is. He'll give it to the captain, Harry Suter, and he will launch it up in the air. Out of his goal is Ergin Shakir. Got to boot it away for his team. Sends it straight out. Because this is the final match of the day. And the United States of America and Paraguay played yesterday in what was a 4-1 victory for the USA, where Mauricio Pochettino's side was certainly very impressive in that game. It was an outstanding performance by them, in fact. It's just going to be booted out by Demiral. It is booted out for... We'll go out for a throw for Australia. Throw will be taken by Connor Metcalf. Güler just heads it back to Demiral, and he will boot it. And it's Cameron Burgess who'll just head it back to his goalkeeper. Here are the Aussies on the ball. To Ocon Engstler. Is it to Aidan O'Neill? O'Neill just out to number 21, Cameron Burgess. Goes all the way back to one of his centre-back partners, Harry Suter. He'll try to force it forward, and it will run through to where Patrick Beach is. Beach will just come and pick it up now. Ball out of his feet, and he will boot it up. Be headed on, and now there's an opportunity perhaps for Turkiye. It's with Arda Güler. He passes it up, but that'll be cleared away by Zeki Çelik. Goes all the way to where Bardachki is. Out on the left flank. There is Turkiye with Kenan Yildiz. Kenan Yildiz will drive inside, gets his shot away, blocked off, and then eventually headed by Cameron Burgess back into the hands of his goalkeeper. Comfortable for Patrick Beach in the end. Let's put it down, and then he will launch it up. That will be headed on by the central defender back there. That's Zeki Çelik who will flick it on. Quite a good day of football. Switzerland absolutely battered Qatar. We're only 1-0 up, and then we're pegged back in the 94th minute as Qatar scored their first ever World Tournament goal and first ever point they recorded in the World Tournament as they equalised in the 94th minute. As Tony Popovic here an hour into the game is going to make some changes as the goal scorer Nestori Irakundu is going to come off. It's been a great performance by him today, a really strong performance. He's played very well. I've always said a tournament like this can certainly change your career, and for the Watford winger, he'll be hoping that he makes his way off. He's been a live wire throughout. Coming on for him is Nishan Velopule. Velopule, who is 25 years of age and plays for Melbourne Victory. Having not played a part in the past 4 international windows, Velopule is something of a bolter in Tony Popovic's squad. And as admitted recently that he missed the Socceroos environment. There's a one-club man that burst onto the scene for Melbourne Victory in 2021, becoming a regular first-team starter and winning the club's Young Player of the Year award. Velopule worked his way into the Australian under-23s setup before being handed a chance to impress in a Socceroos qualifying squad. He went on to score in back-to-back games against China and Indonesia last year, and Vincenzo Montella here in the 62nd minute of the game is going to make his second change. And it's going to be Orkan Koçu, who plays for Besiktas. Spent this season on loan with Benfica. He was born in the Netherlands, and he's going to be substituted off here as Orkan Koçu, and coming on for him is a man that used to play at Leicester City, the 25-year-old Yunus Akgün. Plays now at Galatasaray. A tireless winger with electrifying pace. He's been a favourite of the Turkiye head coach Vincenzo Montella since their time together at Adana Demirspor. He's not a starter, but he's certainly a player that Montella trusts. Having initially joined Galatasaray from Adana in 2021, he went on loan twice. Second time to Leicester City, where he won the English Championship with Enzo Maresca. And whilst in England, his manager Enzo Maresca said that Yunus was struggling with the physicality and the rhythm of the English game. 26 goal involvements last year. He's certainly a player that has come on a lot, so he has come on. I think we might see Ardagulaya playing a more central role now. The long ball goes up, searching towards Kerem Aktürkoğlu. It's not going to reach him though. It's out on the right side with Italiano. He'll just come all the way back to Chachati. He'll give it to his captain Harry Suter. Harry Suter into Cameron Burgess. It's out to Jordan Bosch. Bosch on the ball. Ball inside towards Velopule. Velopule will force it forward. It's given away, and now there's an opportunity for Turkiye coming forward. It's going to go into Çalhanoğlu. Plays it out to the left flank. Chop back, and there is Cameron Burgess. Gives it inside to Veluple. Given away cheaply though. Zeki Celik finds Arda Güler in the box. He's tackled. Go back into Ismail Yüksek. Güler tries his look from distance. You can see the tactic of Vincenzo Montella. He wants his side to shoot from distance whenever they get on it. Ball comes back to Bardachki now. Bardachki across to Mary Demiral. To the right flank. Finding Yunus Akgun. Akgun into Arda Güler. Back to Bardachki. Here is Kenan Yildiz, the Juventus winger, on the left side now. We'll just pull it back to Arda Güler. Güler on the ball. Back into Kenan Yildiz. Yildiz moves it onto his right foot, gets a shot away. It'll be blocked off by Cichati. Now Yildiz again, that time it's blocked off by Aidan O'Neill. 65 minutes on the clock, not long until the next hydration break. It's Ferdi Kadioglu. Plays it across to Ismail Yüksek. Bardachki. We'll find Kenan Yildiz on the left side now. Back to the captain, Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Zeki Celik into Kenan Yildiz, bit of a loose touch taken by him, and now perhaps there is the opportunity for Australia to come forward. It's actually going to be tackled and it will now be a throw. It's back into Zeki Celik. Pass into Ismail Yüksek. Switched out to the left flank. Brought down by Kenan Yildiz. Now Çalhanoğlu into Kerem Aktürkoğlu. Given away. And now Mohamed Toure will come forward for Australia, but he's loose on it. It's back with Turkiye now. Kenan Yildiz will just bounce it back to Yüksek. Out on the right side with the substitute, Yunus Akgun. Akgun able to take it past Jordan Bosch, but then Harry Suter will just guide him out to play, and that's clever play by him. Was able to see him out. Very intelligent. So we are now going to go into the hydration break here in the second half. 68 minutes on the clock. Give both sides 3 minutes to take some refreshments on board, but also get some instructions from their managers Tony Popovic and Vincenzo Montella. Mohamed Toure is currently down in quite a bit of pain. He looks like he may be experiencing a little bit of cramp. He's just been stretched out by the medical staff down there. Here in Canada, Vancouver. It is currently 21 degrees. The substitutes have made their way over, speaking to each other. This would be a big result for Tony Popovic's side. Of course, tomorrow, we can look forward to 6 PM, Germany against Curacao. World Cup debut for Curacao. We've also got Netherlands against the Japan in this World Tournament. And in the early hours, it's Sweden and Tunisia. What a fantastic goal, solo goal it was from Nestori Irakundu, which is at the moment put Australia in a 1-goal lead against Turkiye. Ogurcan Shakir was unable to stop them as it just got floated through, and were able to just beat Shakir and dink it past him. So those sets of players are speaking to their managers at the moment for this hydration break. Popovic will be keen to stress that they need to stay switched on to his side. Can't afford to switch off. Arda Güler and Kenan Yildiz both on the pitch, two quality players. They certainly cannot allow them back into the game. Looks like we might be looking to get back started now. The Venezuelan referee, Jesus Venezuela, is calling them back over. Tony Popovic still having a chat with his players. The referee will blow his whistle a couple of times. So we'll get back underway here in the 71st minute. There's Turkiye supporters still trying to support their players. The Australian supporters singing here in Vancouver as well. As Turkiye have got 20 minutes remaining to find a goal from somewhere. They came into this game as the favourites. Into this group as the favourites to win the group ahead of the United States of America, but they would have watched that game yesterday, and USA were outstanding against Paraguay. As Patrick Beach will just launched up, and then it'll be headed by Harry Suter. There is Bardachki on the ball. We go all the way back to his goalkeeper, Yegorcan Shakir. Demiral will just play a 1-2 with the goalkeeper Shakir. It's out to the left side. It's all the way forward. Arda Güler gets across. There is the captain, Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Çalhanoğlu will just force it out to the right side where Zeki Çelik is. Çelik into Yunus Akgun, into Çalhanoğlu. They're so disciplined, Australia. 11 men behind the ball, and Turkey are really struggling to break them down at the moment. It's out on the left flank with Kenan Yildiz. Crosses it in, and it's blocked off by the Australian defenders. It's back with the Juventus winger now. Yildiz will play a 1-2 with Ferdi Kadioglu. It's Zeki Çelik. Çelik across to Yunus Akgun. Çalhanoğlu. Great pass into Zeki Çelik. He's in behind now. Gets his shot away, and that is well saved by Patrick Beach. He has had an outstanding competitive debut in the Australian goal today, has the 22-year-old. He's got a real good left wrist on the ball there as Zeki Çelik broke forward, but it's Arda Güler on this near side. His right arm goes up. Güler. Headed away by Harry Suter. Can only head it to where Kerem Aktürkoğlu is. Aktürkoğlu to Hakan Çalhanoğlu. To his right side. Now Akgun into Güler. Güler across to Ferdi Kadioglu. Right-footed left back, and he's got no option but to go back to Shakir. Shakir will just give the ball back into him. Kadioglu into Kenan Yildiz now. 22 attempts in the match from Turkey, just the 8 from Australia. They've had 5 on target of Turkey, just the 3 from Australia, as it's Yunus Akgun. Goes back into Arda Güler. Güler from distance once again. Wide of the mark, and that's where a lot of their attempts are coming from outside of the box. Around about 5 or 6 times it's come to Arda Güler, and he's about 25 yards out, and he's tried his luck, and most times he's not getting it on target, and that will frustrate his manager Vincenzo Montella. You've got to test the goalkeeper. But at the moment they are really resolute, are Australia, who are going to make a change here. So coming off for them is the right wing back, Jacob Italiano. Despite his surname, he is Australian born, is Italiano. Plays his club football with Graza, as Australia are coming forward now. They're in a central position, shot goes in, and it's 2 goals up to the good now for Australia. It's a fantastic strike. And as we were saying, we've seen Turkiye have so many efforts from outside the box. Well, this time it was the Socceroos' chance. And they are 2-0 up against Turkiye, and they are shocking the world here. Australia against the group favourites Turkiye. And it was just slammed into the back of the net there. And it's number 8, Connor Metcalfe with the goal. And with quarter of an hour left in this game, it's Australia who are 2 goals up to the good. They just hit them in transition. Metcalfe brought it in, and then he tried his luck from distance, and it just bounced into the corner. No chance for Ergachan Shakir, and Australia are 2-0 up now against Turkey. It's his first goal for his national side since the qualifying game against Saudi Arabia nearly a year to the day, and the Australian backroom staff are in tears at what they are seeing. Their side 2-0 up in a World Cup game against Turkey. The outsiders in control, and Vincenzo Montella will not be able to believe what he is watching as his side fall 2 goals behind against Australia. A real shock here to the system for them. As it stands, Australia will be joining USA in the top 2 of the group, with Paraguay and Turkiye down in 3rd and 4th. But it is Connor Metcalfe with a brilliant goal from outside of the box to put them 2-0 up. There's Yildiz on the right side, gets a shot away, blocked off. So as I was saying, Jacob Italiano was brought off. He's known for his pace and skill moving up down the wing. He's played well today as Italiano. Really good performance by him. He has come off for Jason Geria, who is known as the comeback kid, the 33-year-old, a favourite of Ange Postecoglou, as it is Turkiye with the opportunity. Comes across, and that's Akatoglu, but it's well saved by Patrick Beach. And this has been a star-making performance by the young goalkeeper today. His competitive debut for his international side, and he has been absolutely outstanding, because not only did he save that volleyed effort from Akatoglu, but he held on to it, and it really has been a tremendous performance by Patrick Beach, diving to his right side, and he's made an excellent stop. But Turkiye will come forward. As I was saying, a favourite of Ange Postecoglou is Jason Geria, who is on. He oversaw his development at Brisbane Roar, Melbourne Victory and the national setup. Geria actually started his career as a member of the Australian Institute of Sport football programme in Canberra before joining Brisbane's youth team in 2011. A year later, Postecoglou signed Geria at Victory, where he became a regular name on the team sheet. He played for Australia multiple times at youth level before Postecoglou called him into the Socceroos squad, bidding to reach the 2018 global tournament. Made his debut in a friendly against Greece in 2016, 8 years later after stints in Japan and with multiple A-League clubs. Tony Popovic recalled him to the Socceroos squad, and he's playing out on that right side now. And the other change now for Australia is seeing the man leading the line, the Norwich City striker Mohamed Toure, make his way off. If you told us before the game that Australia would be 2-0 up, you probably would have expected Toure to be on the score sheet, because his goal scoring form has been that good for Australia, and it was actually born in a Guinean refugee camp before moving to South Australia at a young age. Counts 2 brothers, Al Hassan and Musa, Torre, his fellow professional players, whilst his dad, uncle and sister have also played at a high level. He actually made his Socceroos debut at Wembley in October 2023. And he has come off here. And coming on for him is striker Tete Yengi. Yengi, he plays for Machida Selvia. And there is a fair amount of excitement about Yengi, despite his largely flown under the radar before being called in to the last minute into the pre-training camp in Sarasota. He's 6'6" tall. He might not have even been the best attacker in his family, with his brother Cassini Yengi taking that mantle, but this year he's leapfrogged his older brother and staked his claim for national team selection. His brother Cassini Yengi spent last season on loan in England with Portsmouth. He's currently on loan to the Japanese First Division team, Machida Selvia, from Scottish side Livingston. Yengi helped his side reach the Asian Champions League Elite Final, where he enjoyed a moment of internet fame after being headbutted by the much shorter Al Ali defender Zakari El Hawassi, as Vincenzo Montella is going to make some changes now. Just refreshing his side is the Italian manager, as 27-year-old Ismail Yüksek of Fenerbahce makes his way off the pitch, and also Roma's fullback Zeki Çelik comes off. Something to freshen it up, perhaps, is the manager. Coming on for him is the Fenerbahce fullback Mert Mulder, who was born in Vienna to Turkish parents. He made his way through the Rapid Vienna youth teams before making his first team debut as a 19-year-old in 2018, as Arda Güler once again tries his luck from distance, and it's really poor. I've been so disappointed by Arda Güler. He's had a really poor performance today. Every time he gets in the ball, he just looks to shoot. That's about it. And if it comes off, excellent, but most of them have been wide of the target, and it has been a real disappointing performance by the 21-year-old. Mulder, who is on the ball now, speaks 5 languages: Turkish and German from home, English from school, and Bosnian and Serbian to communicate with his long-term partner. And we've also seen the Fenerbahce midfielder Ismail Yüksek come off, with, coming on for him, the Borussia Dortmund midfielder Salih Özcan. He's actually an amateur wrestler. He's a highly skilled amateur wrestler, which is befitting of the style of football that he plays when he's out on the pitch. A disciplined and combative midfielder with years of Bundesliga experience. He grew up in Cologne and represented Germany at youth levels before switching to Turkiye, driven by a desire to represent his heritage. He's a player that's known for his professionalism. He's often the last and the first player on the pitch. Nicknamed the Cleaner in Germany, he made almost 130 appearances for Cologne before switching to Borussia Dortmund, as Toni Popovic is now going to make some changes, and coming off for them is the left wing back Jordan Bosch. What an excellent performance by him today. And also number 24 will make his way off, Paul Ocon Egstler, who plays for Sydney. He's just 21 years of age, but he's provided plenty of legs in the midfield for Popovic's team. Son of the former Socceroos player and now assistant Paul Ocon, who looked like he was in tears when that second goal went in. It was Paul Ocon, who's supporting Toni Popovic down on the dugout. So coming on is Aziz Behic, who plays for Melbourne City. I made a survey of loping defenders and towering backline hybrids available to Popovic. Behic zipping down the left is a comforting reminder of the fullbacks of yore. He appears to have put a hamstring injury last year behind him, and his zest for the game and zeal for the contest means he'll be looking to impress in the minutes he gets, just to push Jordan Bosch. No player took part in more of the Socceroos qualifiers than Behic. He's also been recognised by his peers by being named Professional Footballers Australia's Men's Footballer of the Year for 2025. So Paul Ocon-Engslow's come off, and coming on for him is Jackson Irvine, who plays at the same club that Connor Metcalf plays at. They both play out in Germany with St. Pauli. And Jackson Irvine is onto the pitch, but we'll tell you about him. There is a free kick opportunity here for Turkiye in the 86th minute of the game. It's Hakan Çalhanoğlu from distance. Once again, well saved by Patrick Beach, and he has been tremendous in goal today. A real strong performance by him. He's made a fantastic save down to his left side there. Yes, the majority of his saves have been from outside the box, but he has got to be there to make them, and that is what he has done. And it's been a real impressive performance by him on his competitive debut. As Yunus Akgun is actually the first player of the game to go into the referee's notepad with a little bit of a loose foul. So Jackson Irvine used to play in England with Burton Albion. Born and raised in Melbourne, battle-hardened in Scotland and England, but he's now thriving with St. Pauli in Germany. He's become the heartbeat of their midfield. He's actually the club captain, a key player in their return to the German top tier. Promotion celebrations were so wild that Jackson Irvine forgot to take his passport to his own wedding 2 days later. He's not afraid to express his political and social views. In April, he hit out at FIFA for awarding a peace prize to Donald Trump. So in the 87th minute, it's going to be a throw for Behic to take, as Turkiye have made a sub as well. So Kerem Akatoglu's come off. He just hasn't got into the game at all, as the Fenerbahce striker is known to fans as Harry Potter for his signature goal celebration, waving an imaginary magic wand. He is off. Coming on for him is Dennis Gül. Plays his club football in Portugal with Porto. Born in Stockholm and raised in the Hammarby youth system. Gül was a staple of Sweden's youth setups until a late night phone call from Vincenzo Montella in late 2024 changed all that. 6'3", so gives Turkiye a little bit more of a presence in there. Comes back to Ferdi Kadioglu. Ferdi Kadioglu will come across, and then go back to the goalkeeper. And now it's inside. That goes back into Hakan Çalhanoğlu, and to Salih Özcan. Now it's into Dennis Gül. Dennis Gül into Güler. And Mert Mulder. And now it's across. It's Güler from distance, and he doesn't hit it well, and it just bounced a couple of times before comfortably ending up in the hands of the goalkeeper. Beach, who's been absolutely outstanding. So ball is back with the central defender, Demiral. He'll give it to Bardachki. Bardachki. Comes in to Salih Özcan. Now Özcan to the right side with Mert Mulder. Mulder into Yunus Akgun. Now Yildiz. Yildiz out on the left side. Now back to the edge of the box. So Fedi Kadioglu will cross it in. And then it will just be hooked in. And then it will just be clipped off, and it's going to be a foul. Jackson Irvine, who was trying to compete for the ball there, as we're in the final minute of normal time now. Now it's out on the left side with Kenan Yildiz. Kenan Yildiz will bounce it back to Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Çalhanoğlu will swing it in, and it will just be headed wide of goal by Salih Özcan. We're into 6 additional minutes now at the end of this second half, of which Australia are going to come away with all 3 points. So ball goes all the way back to Özcan. It's back across to the right side. And now it's into their middle, and it's well tackled by Jackson Irvine. Jackson Irvine will just launch it up towards Yengi. Yengi will try and hold on to his big strapping striker is Yengi, 6'6". So out on the right flank. So Arda Güler, who will just play it forward. Güler will knock it on. All the way out to the left flank towards Yunus Akgun. Akgun will bring it down, he'll float it in, that'll be headed away by Cameron Burgess. Just come all the way back now to Demirel. Demirel back in, and then it will just come inside, and Harry Suter will boot it away. It's going to be a throw for Turkiye now. So it's with Kadioglu. Kadioglu will swing it in once again, headed away that time by Jackson Irvine. All the way back out to the left flank. May have taken a touch off an Australian there. Well, Demirel is convinced it has, but the referee Venezuela doesn't. And he gives the goal kick. VAR, of course, can't check that. VAR can only overturn if it's been given wrongly awarded as a corner, rather than if it's been wrongly awarded as a goal kick. Can't get involved. It's supposed to be a quick process as well with that sort of thing, which it has been so far in the tournament. Of course, we're seeing new rules being implemented, new countdowns, as well as Australia going to break forward with Berhic, but the referee's actually going to call it back because he's spotted a foul down there. So Australia 2, Turkiye 0 here. 94 minutes on the clock. 9 shots for Australia compared to the 29 of Turkiye. 4 on target for Australia, 8 on target for Turkiye, who have had plenty of efforts and have tested Patrick Beach, who I think is the man of the match there. I think he's played tremendous on his competitive debut. 8 saves. You rarely see that. And he's made some fantastic stops. He's out on the right side now. It's going to be crossed in. Harry Suter will just head it to where Mert Mulder is. Now Çalhanoğlu comes out for Yildiz from distance. It hits the head of Harry Suter. It is now going to be a corner. Final 2 minutes of the game now. They go short with it, do Turkiye. It's Arda Güler on the left side. Güler will swing it in. It's just taken a nick. I think it has, yeah. So it will be a corner. Güler will make his way over to take the corner. Güler, oh, it's dreadful. He's been really poor today. Really, really poor. He'll now come to the edge of the box after a pass from Yildiz into Hakan Çalhanoğlu. It'll be swung in by Yunus Akgun. Sent back across. Harry Suter's touch helps it into the hands of the goalkeeper, Patrick Beach. And Harry Suter, the Australia captain, is celebrating that as if they've won the game now. And this would be a huge 3 points for Australia. Maybe the biggest shock of the tournament so far, with Turkiye with some standout players, but 2-0 down at present against Australia. They've had 30 shots in the goal of Turkiye, but they've not been able to get past the goalkeeper. It's 72% of it. Here is Jackson Irvine. Irvine on the right flank. It's going to be blocked off. So we'll put Australia just behind the USA. Goes out to the right side now with Turkiye. Here is Arda Güler. Güler on the ball. He's being wrestled with by Behic in the 96th minute, and the referee's going to end it there. And it's a 2-0 victory, a massive victory for Australia, beating Turkiye, and it will be celebrated back in their homeland as it finishes. The Socceroos 2, Turkiye 0.
Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary. Be sure to check out player ratings, shot maps and more in-depth info on the match page. Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok.